You're watching news at Prime. Let's get into another important conversation. The Financial Action Task Force has lauded South Africa for its effort to get off the grey list. The country has been under increasing observation over the deficiencies with money laundering and terrorism funding regulations, among other issues. Now, National Treasury Advisor Ismail Momoniat joining us now to tell us exactly where we are as a country. Mr. Momoniat, good evening to you, and thank you very much for your time. I'd like to start off the conversation with exactly where we are. A statement was put out on Friday suggesting that out of 22 issues that South Africa had to deal with, 20 of those have now been successfully dealt with. 2 remain. Which are those?
Yeah, no, evening, Xoli, and to the viewers. Yes, there are 2 that remain. We had 22 items on the action plan that South Africa agreed with FATF that needed to be addressed. And the 2 that remain relate to a sustained increase in investigations and prosecutions for complex and serious money laundering and for terror financing. And let me say, even on those 2, we had to go last month to Namibia to meet with the FATF's assessors. And we had 6 outstanding. We did really well, I thought. I thought the law enforcement agencies really put up a very good show. But just given that there is a word sustained increase in those action items, we always knew that those 2 items were going to be the last that we would meet, because they're, in a sense, the end objectives. All the others before were more like intermediate objectives towards these 2. And so there too we made good progress previously, not now, but previously they had been upgraded from not addressed to partly addressed. And they had, I think shown the progress that we had made. But the FATF assessors felt they needed 1 more round just so that we can demonstrate that the improvements can be sustained.
Yeah, and let's use that word because it almost is a catchphrase. There's got to be sustained improvement in these 2 areas. How confident can we be that indeed sustenance can be achieved here when it comes to law enforcement, ensuring that I think there are convictions, but also terrorism financing? I mean, how deep are we in this?
So, when I look at how, as I said, both the DPCI, the Hawks, and the NPA, the National Prosecuting Authority, sort of were able to demonstrate the progress that they've made. Remember, what FATF looks at are very narrow types of typology, so they don't cover all cases. And I think they were able to show that they've really made progress. And as I said, they also in the process commit that there are other cases that are close to reaching the prosecuting stage. And they just need to continue to show that what we promised at the last round has actually happened in the 2-3 months after. And I think that should get us over the line. Yeah. I'm pretty confident that we will actually get both outstanding action items upgraded. We go in sort of mid-April to meet the FATF assessors. We'll have to go somewhere in Tanzania. And then the FATF plenary meets in the middle of June, where it will formally adopt whatever proposals from the assessors. And let's say if we do get the 2 done by June, then FATF will sanction an on-site visit around September later this year. And they will then report to the plenary in October. And that's when I expect that we will exit the grey list.
In October, is that your timeline?
Yes, that's a FATF timeline. So it's as soon as we're going to get off. And I think that's when we will get off.
Yeah. The benefits for the country, should we get off this grey list, remind us of what we stand to gain as a country?
Look, let me say that the biggest gains are that, with state capture, our institutions were seriously weakened. And we're not able to act, though FATF doesn't look at corruption as such, but if you link money laundering, that we weren't able to do the basic things and deal with serious and complex cases. I think that through this grey listing process, our authorities have actually built their capability. And it will actually hold us in good stead so that they can act quicker and stronger and more strongly when it comes to cases of corruption, because they always involve money laundering and other cases. So, and obviously to deal with cases of terror financing. So those things are good for South Africa and its long-term interests and security and for economic growth. If we weren't to address it, then, already we are put under what's called enhanced due diligence on our financial transactions. So when we transact with the rest of the world, especially if you take European countries, for example, we get automatically by them. If FATF doesn't ask for this to be done, for enhanced due diligence. So it means that you need more support documentation around transactions. So effectively, the cost of doing transactions goes up. If we were to get off, then I think the other countries' financial systems, they will have confidence that we have cleaned up our act and that they can transact with us without asking for, as I said, more support documents and so on. And this flow should cross-border flow should then proceed, smoothly.
Allow me to take advantage here, because you are a recent official of the Treasury, and I appreciate that you are an advisor, which means, feel free to say, I can't answer that question. But last week, the country experienced something that we have never seen since 1994, and that's the postponement of the delivery of the budget speech. First of all, how big an embarrassment was this for the country? And do you believe in your heart of hearts that we can overcome this? In saying that, I'm saying by 12th March, we will have this budget delivered.
Well, look, Treasury is in a closed-out period, so I can't really comment. And by the way, I'm not involved in the budget anymore, so there's not much I can tell you. But let me just say broadly, we're in a government of national unity, and obviously it does mean that there's a lot more work to do to consult around a budget. So, though it's happened, it's a feature of many coalition countries where when you deal with a budget, that's where all the hard work is around convincing all the parties to support your legislative agenda. So I don't think we should regard it as an embarrassment or anything like that. I think that's the nature of politics, and and I'm sure my colleagues at Treasury will learn the lessons and proceed as they are very innovative, and I think know how to best to put across a budget that reflects the priorities of government.
Yeah, I appreciate when you say you're no longer in the budget committee, and therefore, in a way, you almost have a free hand to comment. So talk to me about how worried we should be as a country when we read that there is almost a breakdown in relations between the Minister of Treasury or Finance and his SARS commissioner. Is that worrying?
Kale, I've said, that I'm not going to comment, and I've really been out of the process. In fact, last week I was in Paris at the FATF meeting. So I also just joined online at 2 o'clock and was going to download the documents. And then I saw what was happening just online. So, I can't comment on what has happened. But, I'm pretty confident, knowing all the individuals, the minister, the DG, the commissioner, that they will work things through. And let's not focus, I think, on those issues. There's always healthy and robust debate within the Treasury family.
Okay.
In fact, often we've taken issue with ministers, whether it was nuclear proposal and so on with the previous president. So, there's always, it's good that there are robust discussions taking place.
Yeah.
So
All right.
we're a very healthy democracy, and I think we should be proud of that.
I hope you're not playing it down. I promise I'm letting you go. Load shedding, just before you, I had the Minister of Electricity. How big a setback would that be for the country's growth potential? I'm talking about economic growth now, if load shedding really is proving difficult to see the back of.
Yeah, Xoli, again, look, I think I'm as surprised as you that we had Schedule 6. I woke up this morning really surprised by it. I mean, we all know that load shedding is not good for the economy. It doesn't allow for certainty of investments and so on. But I think what's happened, 2 weeks ago and this weekend, I think Eskom seems to me, just as an outsider now, that they are getting their act together. And, fortunately, it's over a weekend and not a weekday yet. Hopefully, they'll resolve issues. But I know Eskom always does lots of maintenance during the summer so that we don't have load shedding in winter and so on. So, again, I'm just commenting completely from the outside.
Yeah.
They seem to be on the road to really ensuring that we get a certainty in our supply of electricity.
Ismail
I'm sure this is only...
Ismail Momoniat, I appreciate you allowing me to take full advantage of you. Thank you very much for your time. I hope to talk to you again in the future. A National Treasury advisor nowadays, a man who is credited with really seeing through that department over a number of years, including training a few of the DGs we have seen come and go. Ismail Momoniat, thank you for your time.